What's the name of the cafe in Coffee Talk? Do you remember?
Coffee Talk.
Is it really? That's the cafe's name?
Yes.
Ah, crap. Okay.
The sign on the outside of the building says Coffee Talk.
Damn it. Okay. Well, there's your swearing.
Hello, and welcome to episode 83 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I'm your host, Mike Salbato, and I can't get over the fact that we're at 83 episodes. You know, we're actually going to hit 100 by the end of the year at this rate, which is a topic for another day, but I'm still excited about that.
Yay.
So today, as you probably know, we are talking about cafe music. Joining me on this cafe journey today is three co-hosts here. We have Hilary, Andreff.
Hi.
Audra Bowling again.
Hello, hello.
I mean that in a good way, of course. It's always happy. I'm always happy to have you here. And
it's always happy with Audra on the
It's always happy. There you go. And then lastly, joining us for the first or second time, depending on if you count the karaoke episode, is Mario Garcia.
Hey, what up?
Are you excited for your first regular episode of Rhythm Encounter?
I am, yeah. I'm excited to not have my throat and voice die out this time, hopefully. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to be here.
Well, this will be like taxing, I'm sure, in some ways at least.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, no one is disallowed from singing, but no one's required to sing.
This one should be a more relaxed tone, I think. More of a relaxed vibe.
I would really hope so, given the topic.
Yeah.
Although it could be energized with caffeine.
Yep.
That's true. It depends on what we all have. So me, I've had my two coffees for the day, which is really as much as I want to do today. So I am good for now. I think Hilary, you said you also had two today.
Yep, same.
What's everyone's caffeine levels over there?
About 2 cups of coffee today.
Okay.
And now tea.
Good.
Yeah, I'm actually not a coffee drinker, but I am a Oreo, like the Oreo equivalent of basically having like a coffee every day. So that's kind of what I'm into right now. I've got some Oreos right here and a glass of milk.
It serves the same function.
Yeah. No, definitely, yeah. I think maybe just like the chocolate is kind of my like caffeinated beverage equivalent. Fulfills that niche.
Chocolate has some amount of caffeine and sugar.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's, so I just get it from Oreos instead.
Now, I have an important question as someone who has a bad habit of buying every possible limited edition Oreo that when he can find. What kind of Oreos do you have?
Right now, I currently have, I'm eating some single stuff right now.
Okay.
I think, okay, to settle the single stuff and double stuff debate, I really feel like it depends on like the mood really, because I feel like they both have their strengths at different times, I think. And right now I'm like in a single stuff mood.
I'm with you, actually. I've had this conversation with people too, and I know some people that do not like double stuffed, and I'm okay with it, but I definitely draw the line at the mega stuff.
Oh yeah, mega stuff's just like, I can't have more than like 2.
It's outside the acceptable limits.
Yeah.
To have a good ratio for a cookie, I feel.
Outside the limits. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think double stuff is really good when I'm like craving it, but yeah. I think I can't have more than like, I don't know, I can't have more than a couple before getting like sugar overloaded.
Uh-huh. Unless you're not into it. Right now my thing is the toffee Oreos. So if you can find those and are into toffee, I recommend them.
Ooh, I don't think I've had those.
But for the purposes of this episode, let's say they're mocha.
Oh yeah. Well, there is the Java chip ones.
Yes.
Those, yes. Why are we talking about
Oreos?
Yeah,
I get excited about
Oreos.
I get excited, okay? Oreos can still go well with coffee.
They can. Yeah. Oreos and coffee.
Mm-hmm. And a cafe can be a place for a treat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had chocolate banana bread today, so, you know, there's that.
That's essentially how I treat cafes. It's like pastries and like treat places, because like my friends are super into it, so I'm at cafes a lot. But like, yeah, I just go for pastries and that kind of thing.
It's fine. I mean, you know, they got stuff for everyone. So today, of course, we are talking about cafes and cafe music. And if anyone is listening and looking ahead, you notice we have some somewhat loose interpretations on some of these. We have cafes and bar cafes, but I think we have an exciting mix today. So leading us off today will be Hilary with a game that I almost brought on. If you hadn't, I definitely would have. It's probably one of the main inspirations behind us wanting to do this episode in the first place. Mm-hmm. So what are we starting with here?
So the first cafe we're going to is Coffee Talk, and we're going to be listening to Moon Bright from the Coffee Talk original soundtrack.
After that, I am bringing on my first song, which is The Last Stand from the Endwalker Final Fantasy XIV soundtrack. I know it's an incredibly dramatic name, and it is a cafe song. So let's go take a listen to Moon Bright and The Last Stand.
So, Moonbright is early on in the Coffee Talk soundtrack, and basically it is a sample of very small sections of Debussy's Clair de Lune, which is a really beautiful classical song. So that's reason number one I had to bring it on. It's only a few bars of it, which is really fascinating to see how with such few notes you can keep the song going for as long as it does. So I struggled a little bit deciding to bring this on versus other songs in the soundtrack because it is kind of such a focused sample of such a small part of the song. I mean, there's like that, I think, 8-bar section, and then when the music changes away from that, it's another small section, maybe another 8 bars, close to that. But I couldn't resist because it is such a beautiful song, and it's impressive how cohesive it is with the rest of the soundtrack. That's something that I think a lot of lo-fi channels and a lot of other like classical music inserts in game music, they don't integrate it into the soundscape of the whole game quite as well. So I wanted to spotlight that. I also wanted to include it because it's kind of like a beautiful, wistful, kind of melancholy song, the original, so I thought it would be a fitting tribute to Fami, the wonderful developer of Coffee Talk, who we lost at too young an age recently. So
yeah, that was really sad.
Yeah.
we wanted to, I don't think we could have done this episode without a song from Coffee Talk and without like a little tribute. So there it is.
Yeah, I just randomly thought to look this up. I guess maybe it's a given. I thought that is what the song translated to, but I wasn't sure.
Close, yeah. So Clair de Lune is like light of the moon. So Moonbright is kind of like a nice play on that.
So in case you were curious at all, it's like, was that just a coincidence? No, it's a nice touch.
It's a related title and a nice touch, yeah. Because it's like, I'm trying to think of the right adjective. It's okay.
Okay.
It happens.
Yeah. So I have very strong feelings about Coffee Talk in general, since I've brought a couple songs on whenever I can like work it into an episode. So I only have a few things to say here besides what I always say about how much I love it and how great it is as background working music. But one thing I really like for some reason about like lo-fi music and some of Coffee Talk songs is that background, like kind of like a static or like a record scratching sound. I think in this one, it kind of helps ground the song, and that's not a coffee pun. It's just it kind of gives this like sense of like a space that's like lived in. And I don't know if that's just me, but for me, I don't know if you have to have played the game, even though I recommend that you do, to get a sense of like the atmosphere of the cafe. And this and many other songs on there really capture that feeling of this cafe, about this being this like cozy, safe space. And then on this particular song, there's some higher notes that convey this sense of joy. I think there's like a happy vibe to it. It is. It's the light. But yeah, it's a comforting song. Even it's funny too, because the game, even though it is a coffee shop, all your patrons come in and they talk to you, and a lot of times they get advice. So your character is serving them coffee, but almost serving that like traditional like bartender, like, hey, tell me about your day kind of thing. So I think that kind of music really fits what they're doing with the game here.
Also, it's a cute sample and title and song for a cafe that is open only at night, right?
Right.
Oh, that's a neat touch.
Mm-hmm. And part of that is like, well, it kind of, I think that factors into the story a little bit, but like the futuristic Seattle area where Coffee Talk is set has all sorts of kind of fantasy people. So your patrons, you get a wide variety of people.
Yeah.
And vampires.
Yeah, the vampire would not be able to come in very easily during the day. So
I really like the song. I haven't played the game yet. I just bought it to try it out.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
It's a lovely song.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
I think you'll like it.
And let us know if you find the same, like that this fits really well with the rest of the soundtrack, even though it's kind of has samples of famous music in it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely looking forward to trying it out and listening to the songs.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was going to add, also as someone who hasn't played the game, going back to what Mike said, like I think the song does a really good job of that sense of space and like knowing the like cafe. I don't know, I feel like the vibes are really strong in this one, and like getting that like relaxed, cozy, almost like therapeutic cafe vibes is something you can get from this song, even not having played it. played the game.
Cool. I was right then.
Yes.
It's so easy for me to say. It's like, oh yes, I'm sure this is how everyone, views the song, but it's hard to say for objectively because I have played it. So I'm glad that does come through.
Yeah, no, I can vouch.
Me too.
Good, and it's nice to hear that you all enjoyed it, even though it's such like a short sample.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I am sorry, but I wrote too many notes on The Last Stand.
And that's the name of our next cafe. Woo!
Yes.
Too many notes on The Last Stand.
That's true. That's true. This is also The Last Stand is the name of the song and the cafe. So yeah, it doesn't help that I may be reviewing the soundtrack right now. So I have lots of thoughts in my head about Endwalker's music. So I want to give a slight bit of background. I know we're not really here to talk about the game as much, but I also realized that The Last Stand seems like a very strange name for a cafe. But I want to explain why it's named that because I think it's pretty interesting. So it's not really that it's dramatic. It's more that it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. And I'm not going to give any major spoilers away here, so don't worry about it. But in Endwalker, we finally get to visit the city of Old Charlian, which is something that's been talked about for years, and we never got to go until this expansion. And, the idea is it's a city, it's like this repository of knowledge, and there's just scholars and academics and all these, brilliant people there that just do nothing and live to study, basically. And, because... Yes?
Sorry, I just got a thought in my head. It's Eorzea in Boston. Just because of the number of, universities and schools.
I could see that, except people in Boston like to eat.
Okay, that's true.
People in Charlian don't, because they're all so smart and don't have any time for food, which is not something I can relate to at all. But the idea is that, all these people they're too busy studying and learning and all that to actually eat properly. So their thing is they come up with this disgusting loaf of something that's kind of bread. Because it gives them all the nutrients they need, and they don't have to cook, they don't have to go out of their way, and it's just there, and it's basically efficient. They eat because they have to survive, but no one has time to eat anything good, except the small group of people that decided that people should still have good food. So The Last Stand is the one restaurant in the city that actually serves something besides this horrible loaf. The fact that it even exists, I think, just amuses me so much. And then there's a line of crafting quests in the game too, where you work with one of the girls who is trying to change people's perception of food too. It's the nutrients are important, but you go to figure out that a lot of the people that, even though they are eating it, don't like it, and it's so hard for them to even finish the whole thing because it's so vile. So you do work with her to make this thing actually edible, but still serving its purpose. So I don't know. I think it's a fun little quest line. So all of that to say, that's why the song is called that. For the music itself, I think it has just such a nice, comforting feel to it. It has these nice bouncy strings, and it's upbeat. It just has a sense of being really welcoming. It's it promises you that a good time will be had by all, whether you're having steamed clams or any other Eorzean shellfish. So if you know anything at all about Endwalker, even if you don't, it's called Endwalker, so you can imagine the stakes of the story are pretty high. So I think it was really important for them to have some moments of reprieve like this one, to have a place like The Last Stand. And there's even another cafe adjacent song that I almost brought on called Each Drop. And I think in the middle of all the stuff going on, it was really a great idea that they had these moments where you could stop and take a breath. And that, yes, there's bad stuff happening, but Soken gave us this song. It gives us this feeling of peace, and that it's okay, just for a little bit, you can put all that aside and have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with your friends or, fellow players, or if nothing else, Heidelin's best, twin character. Look, I was really excited for my little coffee date with Alize, okay?
I don't blame you.
Yes.
I think I put in my notes that, thank you, Soken, this is the blissful break the Scions deserve. Or something like that.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah, and it had a nice daytime cafe feel. So I kind of really like that we put it with Moonbright because you got this drummy guitar. The guitar is going at kind of like a languid tempo. So you can just kind of like take your time with your coffee and edible food and enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a relaxing sense to it. It's calming.
I think Moonbright's a little more introspective and reflective. I think this one's a little more carefree.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I like that description.
Yeah, I think the song selections balance each other out in this grouping.
Yeah. So for those of us who play 14, what food item would you order at the last stand?
Does it have to be 14 food?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
I just know 14 has a lot of food.
It does.
Probably that burger.
It's true. Yes.
Yeah, that they eat.
Does 14 have an Oreo equivalent?
They're coffee biscuits.
There are coffee biscuits.
Okay.
That's,
All right, I can dig with that.
That's sort of close, yeah. Yeah, there's a couple cutscenes in Endwalker where there's all the signs are sitting down to eat, and people really honed in on the burger. Like it's a very nice 3D burger model.
Yeah.
Delicious. I just really want to go there and order an Ishgardian muffin, okay?
Why wouldn't you go to Ishgard for that?
Because I want to be that annoying customer.
Okay.
No, I don't really.
Do you have Ishgardian imports?
Because I'm a Lalafell from the Dunes, but I want an Ishgardian muffin from Charlie.
Yeah, why not? Okay, are we ready to move on to our next song then?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So our next block is our cafe/bar block. So we're starting off with Audra here. What's our first song?
Get your ID cards ready.
It must be this many years to drink. The first song is Bar Dandelion from IX Monstrum NOX OST soundtrack.
Wow, falcom music that isn't electric guitar. This is going to be interesting. Oh God,
What a concept.
Someone's going to get mad at me for that one.
Multiple people are probably going to get mad at you for that one.
I know there's variety. It's not usually what people bring onto the show with falcom music, so it's a nice surprise.
I mean, you think falcom, you generally think like battles or like
Yeah,
fast-paced
Yeah.
environments.
Yeah.
So this is a nice change, for
it
sure.
is. Although I'm not sure how that's going to work. Get your IDs ready. Like it's a JRPG. Like no one's older than 19.
They can't be in there.
They did actually have kids working at the bar. So.
Oh
dear.
well, all right,
Oh, God.
sure.
Different times. Though.
Actual kids, or are they like ancient beings in the body of a child?
Kids.
Oh well, okay.
But
I try to
they were
give them credit.
away from the alcohol.
Okay,
So
they're just serving the milk and the Oreos.
yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
all right. So after Bar Dandelion, I brought on a song from the other game that I was sure to bring on with Coffee Talk, which is "You've Got Me" from Valhalla, another visual novel about serving drinks. So let's go take a listen to those.
Well, I picked Bar Dandelion because it's actually a very interesting track that plays. The Dandelion is their headquarters of the Monstrum, an Adel in the game, so it's more of a relaxing place where they go between missions and dungeon trapezing. So, and I think the music really fits that. It has a very kind of, it's more like a restaurant than a bar, really. I guess a tavern would be more accurate. And it just kind of has that homey feel to it. And I just really thought it was a nice, relaxing song for this episode. So I went with it.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, I could easily picture it on, where people are meeting at the end of their day or between events. I find it interesting that even though Dandelion is kind of more of a bar, like the instrumentation is kind of similar to a lot of the like jazzier cafe music that is out there for games that have cafes in them.
They have kind of, it's like a bar / restaurant / shopping area. So it was kind of a catch-all.
But the music really aligns with that sort of like almost smooth jazzy cafe feel. And I really like I think my favorite part is the almost pizzicato, like plunking string sounding section where everything stops and you just get a few strong beats of like do 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 do.
Is that the little thing that's about 50 seconds in that I also commented on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I like that little part. I actually think it's too short of a song. Actually, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I kind of wish it was longer. It feels like it ends very abruptly.
I think so too, because like not just that one mark at 50 seconds, but I think towards the end of the song it starts doing something too. And like I would like to like hear like an extended version, like have them expand on it a little more, because I think a lot of the song, I'm trying to find the right word for it. It's very chill, and I want to say basic, but it's not really a bad thing with this kind of music. But it's just sometimes they veer off into something else, like those couple moments, and like I would like to hear like more of that and see where they could take the song, because I do enjoy it. I feel like it's just part of a song.
It could be more.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it's very cozy and homey. I wrote in my notes about how it kind of has a sustained sort of feeling throughout. It sort of almost feels like that suspension of time that can happen when you're at a cafe. It's just very kind of solid, but those little moments really do kind of like hint at the idea that there could be some cool variations on it, or there's a lot that you could do with it.
When they're having like their team meetings or something, or
or like different times of day or night. Like, I don't know. There's a lot you could do with it for sure.
What came to mind for me for this song was, I guess because I'm currently playing through Ys 8, so I think this is why like RPG hubs and like chill songs in the midst of like a really like intense guitars and like the usual music that's playing a lot of the action RPG components of Ys games. I think, that's just what really drew me to this song, is more of the chill kind of environment to contrast from like the usual more energetic and I don't know if upbeat's the right word, but more energetic songs they're usually playing during these games. So
it gives like a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's really interesting, because I think that provides like even a little additional kind of context for the song. If you know that usually what's going on around the party is guitars and just really driving all the time action-oriented music.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I think it adds that contrast, and also just, I don't know, I just love this sort of like relaxed, like, I don't know, it just, it's like the time to like kind of regroup with the team and the party and everything, and it's nice.
Check out your headquarters.
Yeah, exactly. Go shopping.
I got a weirdly literal vision, Hilary, when you said like the party is like surrounded by guitars. So I'm picturing the band just like following them out into the field playing guitar.
You need your soundtrack.
Yeah.
Isn't that how like, I don't know if this is just in movies or whatever, but like medieval armies or whatever would have like the equivalent of like hype men or whatever, like some sort of like band to like go along with it. Is that a thing, or is that just...
I don't know. If you want to ask about like historical stuff, like I'm not the right person, but Hilary might know more than me.
I might know more than... Yeah, you're putting me on the spot.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I'm just a trumpet person.
I mean, okay, so...
The trumpet, sure.
So traditionally, like, I mean, there are definitely kind of inspirational musicians that like go around with armies, fighting parties.
Yeah.
Stuff like
there you
that.
go. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. Yeah.
I think we need more of that in RPGs is the point. Shall we talk about Valhalla?
Once again, there's a lot of like contrast. These two songs kind of balance each other out.
Yes. So Valhalla, what don't I love about this soundtrack? Or soundtracks, since there's actually 3 albums for this game now. But it's just completely full of chill beats, and some are more chill and some are more beats. And in this particular song, I really like the first 30 seconds of it because it really slowly eases you into what the song is going to be before it really gets going. And kind of like we talked about with Dandelion, like the melody here isn't really complicated, but I see that as a good thing. Like that's really something I look for when I want cafe music, or if I need background music, like something I'm gonna like, I need like some focus music. So a simpler song really does work for that. But the bass line that carries the song through and the synthy sounds are just, it's simple, but it's still like fun and like motivating to me as like background music. And so of course the synth really works for a game like this. If you don't know Valhalla, it's a pixel art retro cyberpunk atmosphere going on. Why I haven't actually played more than the prologue demo, I don't know, because I really like what they're doing with it, or what they did with it. And then the Garoad's music for the game, like that really like quickly joined like Andrew Jeremy's Coffee Talk music on several of my playlists. Beyond the 3 albums for Valhalla itself, I've even picked up some of his other items on Bandcamp. Like he has a few other albums that have a similar vibe to it. Not that he's a one-note musician, but I do like that he does play to his strengths and have some other stuff in this style too. So I'm going to actually include a link to his Bandcamp in the show notes, because if you enjoyed this, I think you'll really like any of the songs on this soundtrack or anything else that he's composed to.
I really like the feel of the song. It's just a nice, relaxing feel to it. You can see it working in a cyberpunk bar setting quite nicely, actually.
Yeah, I feel like this song would go great with like a gaming cafe.
Or a barcade.
Yeah.
Or a barcade, yeah.
Barcade.
I actually kind of have a contrasting opinion to yours.
Uh-oh.
When you were saying, like the song kind of eases you into what it is, I kind of felt like I knew what it was right away. Like I feel like it hooked me immediately, just because, I don't know, the titles You've Got Me, and just like the way that simple beginning, because you're right, I think it is like a simple kind of easy beginning, but the way those simple, like 3-note groups, I think maybe it's just a few groups of a few notes, but you have a really strong chord at the beginning of those. It's kind of like dun dun dun, and it really just kind of pulls you in. It's like, yep, you've got me, I'm there.
Okay, that's a good point too.
So I don't know, I appreciated that little touch, and I really like how there's that section, but then in the middle it's kind of contrasted with like a melody that kind of interweaves with some of the underlying harmony in the middle. So it's just kind of like a constant flow of sound in the middle section, and it's still punctuated by some of those chords. So I don't know. And of course the synthy instrumentation with the piano and the beats, as you so aptly put it, I think really kind of, I was definitely picturing like futuristic cafe or bar for sure.
Now, I only take issue with one thing of everything you said from your notes.
What?
And that is that you spelled the title of the game wrong.
I know, I was writing quickly.
You're being literal, like Valhalla in Myth.
Oh, I know.
Okay, but it's very important that Valhalla is spelled VA-11 HALL-A.
I'm impressed that you just rattled that off.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've typed that out?
And I know how many
RPG
times
fans?
I know how many times you've seen it in your like album art.
Yes, I see it in my album art. I've like done media. I've like proofread news stories or whatever. It's like, oh no, actually the hyphen is here. So no, I'm very used to the weird way they spell this game now.
Nope, I was trying to write it quickly and I was like, nope, not doing it. I refuse.
Now, I don't remember where the hyphens and breaks and capitalization is in the sequel because it's not out yet. But there is some weird things going on in Nirvana as well.
And there's cameos in Anno.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, really?
Yeah, there's 2 cameos. 2 characters from Valhalla show up in Anno.
Ah, geez. Your comments and your reviews on that game like really sold me on wanting to play it anyway, but that's even more exciting. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was a surprise for a lot of people when they showed up.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Are you ready to talk about your next song, Audra?
Oh, yes. My next song is Cafe Latte, The Color of Autumn Leaves, from the Otomi Café Enchante OST.
And then finally, we get a song from Mario. What's after this?
Yeah, after that we have Chagall Cafe from Persona 4 Golden. And yeah, Persona had to make its way in here.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. I wasn't sure if it was going to be 3, 4, or 5, but I knew someone had to pick something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, there are so many options from Persona that could have made this episode.
Let's go
Oh,
check
please
it.
not the Juness song again.
No, I love the Juness song.
But it's not a cafe song.
But it's not a cat. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's true. It's
But
more of
Juness has a
shopping
cafe
center
area.
mall.
What topic could we do to work that song in? What kind of episode would we have to have for that?
Convenience store jingles and RPGs.
Jingles.
How many jingles are there in RPGs?
I bet there are more than you'd think.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you could do like stores.
Okay.
In Persona 3, there's the TV channel.
Oh God, Tanaka.
Tanaka's
with his
commodities
like,
or wares or something.
yeah, with his weird little jingle.
Yeah. Okay.
Juness is not the first Persona jingle.
Okay. I think there might actually be something in this for a future topic. I was joking, but now that we're talking about it, maybe that'll happen one day. But until then, let's go listen to Cafe Latte, The Color of Autumn Leaves. It sounds so delicious. And Chagall Cafe.
I love the title of the song, and I think it really fits for the idea of a cafe serving drinks and just a generally chill and relaxed time. The piano music is very soothing in a way, and yet kind of energized too, like you're refreshing yourself, and it's just a fun song, and the title actually brings to mind exactly what I picture when I listen to it, just someone sipping a cafe latte.
It has strong cafe vibes for sure.
Yes.
Strong, like jazzy piano cafe vibes. Or Peanuts cartoon music.
Golly.
I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, but it's also kind of relaxed and subdued. It doesn't have a lot of the syncopation that some like jazzy cafe piano music has. It's very smooth.
Yeah, it's usually playing when just the characters are talking about just relaxing, kind of reflective moments and stuff.
Ah, okay, so it's a little more reflective. I really latched onto the fall part in this song. That's kind of a lot of what I was visualizing with it. I kind of saw like a slow drift of leaves toward the ground, and like the little piano
the
runs.
passing of time.
Mm-hmm. And like the little piano runs sounding kind of like wind in the trees a little bit.
I'm so glad that I was in a cafe this afternoon, actually having a cafe latte for that matter, while writing notes on this song, because I feel like I was in the right place to be listening to it. And it was really just the perfect setting for a song like this. And wasn't actually super different from the music that was actually playing in there, although I'm not sure what exactly was going on. But it had a similar vibe to it if I took my headphones out.
You could do a direct comparison.
Yeah, but I should have like Shazammed it to see, so I can't really compare. I'm like, I don't know, whatever was going on, it was kind of similar. I'm pretty sure it wasn't this game though. Although wouldn't that be amazing if it was? But yeah, like just sitting there with my, oat milk latte, with caramel, if you're curious, listening to the song, like all I was missing from like that cafe vibe was good conversation, because I was just there by myself. But yeah, I could definitely put this song on loop for a while. It's just really perfect for a cafe setting.
I feel like caramel's an appropriate flavor for this song title.
Yes. I kind of knew when this episode came on that I was going to pick a Café Enchante song, because it's just too perfect of a soundtrack with the relaxing themes, which makes sense since it's about a cafe.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you got to expect the visual novels set in cafes on this episode. It's important.
Yeah.
All right. How are we feeling about Persona here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Woohoo.
I kind of like how we're getting our chain coffee experience with this one on our little coffee tour, because Chagall shows up in multiple games, and it is actually supposed to be a chain in the games, and I think Persona 4 is a separate location from Persona 3.
Yeah. But, and actually, yeah, that's a good point. We're getting our chains the next two. But yeah, no, yeah, I actually didn't realize that Chagall was in Persona 3, that it was like the same like chain or whatever until like I was doing research for this. But it's a chain. And yeah, Persona definitely earns a spot in this episode, I think. But yeah, this song, I think what really drew me to this song in particular is it's definitely a lot more of like having like that ambient noise and sound, I think, with like the plates and utensils moving and everything like that. I think that was just, it really kind of gives you that sense of space, and like it's a really basic song, but it still has that like gentle rhythm to it, and it definitely feels really, really classy. And yeah, it's just a really great song. It's a vibe, and yeah, I thought it fit really well with today's episode.
Yeah, I love the ambient noises you hear in the background of it. I think that really fits for a cafe.
I also like the whole, just even like the context of like going to like the city and like going to a cafe and that sort of like aspect of it as well. Like, I don't know, I think the music also just really plays into that sort of vibe too.
Yeah, that's true. In Golden, you actually have to, it's a little further away, right? And you have to like unlock it by going on a long scooter ride, I think I saw.
Yeah, you have to, because you get the scooter, like, I forgot how long into the game, but yeah, you have to take like a scooter to like ride out to the city and everything like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a cool vibe, I think.
This one goes out to anyone who's ever driven a long distance to go to a specific coffee spot.
Yeah.
Define long. Because for the last like 6 months, we've been driving, 17 minutes to get to one. So
that's not too far.
Not too far.
Oh, one thing that I really like about this song is the atmosphere that it sets is really interesting, because it's a group of kind of some slight variations on some piano runs that kind of run together and change up a little bit. But they construct a really nice, solid cafe atmosphere that I think kind of works day or night. And that's perfect for the games because, at least in Persona 3, you can go to Café Chagall during the day or night and spend, whichever time slot it is there. And the sort of classiness that you spoke about is there too, because even though Café Chagall has like really cushy chairs and I think a little like checkered tablecloth thing going on, it's got a cozy side, but in all the descriptions in the game, it says, oh, they take their coffee very seriously, and it raises your charm.
Yeah. I think it's so serious. I think in Persona 4, it like gets you a skill card or something. It's like, what's in their coffee that they're able to do that? But yeah, no, definitely agree.
I think the song's such a great representation of that. Like, I get that sense from the music. It goes with it well.
I wish exactly, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I wish drinking coffee raised my charm. That would be awesome. My notes originally said this is a weird thing to focus on, except Audra already said it. But I was also going to comment on the ambient and like background noises. Because I think when you focus on just the piano part of the song, it's fairly minimal, which of course, as I've said a few times by now, like I enjoyed that. But I think the piano and the overall vibe of the song captures some of that same feeling I like about Coffee Talk, that warm, like relaxing and welcoming vibe to it. But I also think the addition of those ambient sounds, like give it some, like basically some life. Like even if you're listening to it outside of the game, like we are here, like having that there really gives you, I think you can really easily picture like, people in like a booth over there, like stirring some milk into their coffee or their tea, or, sharing a slice of pie. I can go for some pie now, actually. Or another pastry or something like that. Like it really makes it feel like you're there,
Right.
Or I think it's a good addition because I didn't expect that would be in the song itself, even if that's in the game. So I think that's a nice touch.
Yeah, I think the addition of it's really clever in a way.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's interesting because it kind of creates a little bit of a sense of movement, like some of those plates and glasses clinking and stuff are people coming and going.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it also kind of like helps ground the song. You know that this is a cafe and those sounds are sustained in that space.
Right. No, that was a really great choice. Thanks for bringing that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that concept of I forgot what the word is. It's like realizing that like everyone's life is like as complex as yours or whatever. Like even just like random people. I forgot what the word for that is, but it's like that. Basically, like things are going around and like things are happening at this cafe. And yeah, I think it's just a really strong sense of place, I think.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up now. I didn't realize that. I like the sentiment.
Like Sonder, I think's the word, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know there was a word for it.
Yeah.
There's also a Spanish word that the song kind of conjures up for me.
Yeah.
It's called sobremesa, which literally translates to like around the table, and it's the idea of like taking time around a meal to like sit and discuss.
Okay, I like that. All right, now since you're the one bringing Spanish terms into this, I want to see how you segue that term into this next song here.
I'm not sure I can segue with exactly that term. However, wait for it.
Okay.
It kind of goes along with like part of Starbucks' mission, which is to create like a third place, a place for you to convene, kind of to have that same feel as sobremesa. And our next track is kind of a cheeky take maybe on Starbucks. So
all right,
there we go.
That was a good connection right there. That was
you
solid.
did it.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
really great.
All right, so our last block is we're going to start off with Mario again. What's your other song tonight?
So my next track, we're going to talk about a funky little guy, Professor Gadd from Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga's OST.
Yeah.
I want to say right now, I feel like I'm very proud of Hilary's segue, but I'm also very proud of myself that not once, Mario, since you've started, have I ever made any kind of reference or joke about Mario, the video game character, because I'm sure you've had enough of that in your life.
Thank you. No, I get that pretty often, yeah.
I'm sure you do.
As someone who just like, I play a lot of video games and everything, and like Mario games are like so, they were just what I was really into younger as well. So it's just, that's definitely something I get a lot.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I'll admit that when you applied, that we were like, "Hey, cool! Like Mario's applying." But you know, we liked you for other reasons, not just for your name. So I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But no, I embrace it though. I really like the Mario. Yeah, I always say like I'm a Mario, but I identify more with Luigi in terms of like, personality and everything. But I embrace it. Like it comes with the name.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good because I know that could. If you didn't, that could probably be like really grating. So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. It's all good.
All right.
I think it's interesting seeing what people come up with it. Like usually it's just like, oh, like where's Luigi? Like that's kind of like an easy joke to make, I think. But it's interesting when people kind of, like I give people props that they make it more creative than that.
Well, but you identify more with Luigi, so you'd be like, well, I'm right here.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
No, for sure, exactly, yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm delaying your introduction here.
No,
Hilary.
you're
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm the one that started on that tangent. All right, so Mario has Professor Gadd, and then Hilary, you have our last track here with something very strange, and I'm happy about it.
Yes. Okay. So this is probably the block that I'm most excited about today because Professor Gadd shows up in Luigi's mansion. It was a little bit spooky. So this song does have like a slightly spooky vibe. And the song that I'm bringing on, which is Dragon, that plays in the Fringe Cafe in the old adventure game, The Longest Journey, also has a slightly spooky industrial kind of vibe. So I was kind of joking that this was like our alternative goth coffee shop block.
Yeah, I mean it's perfect. So let's go get goth. Let's get dark, dank. What are we doing here?
Let's do it.
Dank.
I don't know. Dragon kind of
Danky Cafe.
Yeah. I don't know. A dive bar kind of thing. Anyway, all right. I'm not funny. Let's go listen to Professor Gadd and Dragon.
All right, so Professor Egad is a weird little guy. So he runs the Starbeans Cafe in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. And yeah, I just think that so first of all, it's really random and weird that he's doing this. I feel like just based on where the game takes place, it's like the Bean Bean Kingdom or whatever. So it's like the equivalent of like Egad just running a cafe in a different like country or whatever.
Right.
But like for sure he pulls it off. But yeah, I think the song itself though, I think it translated well from Luigi's Mansion. Honestly, I feel like it's got that sort of like funky, almost like hip hoppy kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I just think it goes really well for a cafe setting. I think one thing I was deciding between when I brought this song was also looking at, because Superstar Saga's had like a remake. So I listened to that version as well. And I don't know, I ultimately decided on this one because I feel like this one's got more of that like funky vibe to it, while the remakes goes more for like, I think it uses the version from Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is more of like going for the more like of a scary, spooky kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I feel like this one fit more into a cafe setting, I think. Which I mean, I think the other one makes sense because I mean, this is what Egad's from, is like Luigi's Mansion and all of that. But I don't know, I like this kind of mix of it in particular.
Yeah, it sounds like what they did. I read about the Dark Moon version, but I didn't like listen to the two for comparison. But like, I guess that would work because of the game he's from, and like, if that's the vibe they were going for. But the way you describe it, it sounds like the original version was more. They did more to adapt it to this setting, to the Mario
and this
Luigi
game.
setting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this game, yeah, I think it goes with Superstar Saga's like sound font and sound as well.
Right. It's less of a like, hey, here's an audio cameo.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's a vibe. I really like it. I mean, Luigi's Mansion soundtrack's also a vibe, but that goes off topic. But yeah, I think it's also like crazy that like, I didn't know this as a kid or whatever when I originally played this, but like apparently like originally they're supposed to have a bunch of different like Nintendo characters show up and not just Egad at that cafe.
Yeah, I didn't know that until last week.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, and it's like in the game too. Like I saw the sprites for them and everything, but
Whoa.
at least according to the internet. But
Right.
So maybe take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, Wario, like Fox, Samus, Link. There's a lot of different characters that were supposed to show up instead of like Egad, like each time you got a new item or whatever.
Would have been like Smash, but with coffee and not fighting.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have been Coffee Smash Brothers.
Okay. Well, there go most of my notes. Not that would really had anything to do with the music, so I probably should have focused more on the music. I was really entertained by that. I had no idea about the...
It has a very fun and funky vibe.
It does. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm kind of a pro at talking about music, or at least music adjacent things on our music show. So, but like on one hand, like I would have loved to like have a scene where Mario and Luigi are getting coffee with Samus, because that kind of blows my mind.
Right? Yeah, it would have been so cool.
But I wonder too, like if they had done that, this song probably wouldn't be in here. Like they probably would have had like just an original song for a cafe
theme.
Yeah, which would have still been good because it's Yoko Shimomura, but we would have been denied.
It would have been harder to center it around Egad.
Right. It might not be as like cohesive of a theme. So I think it worked out again.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. I'm always kind of like interested and amused listening to some very classic like video game music, including some stuff from Mario, because occasionally I'll catch slight classical music shoutouts, and Egad's theme I think is definitely one of those. Like those first notes at the very beginning, that do 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 do, kind of reminded me a little bit of the beginning of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. The do 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 do.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just kind of like a groovier. Instead of that, it's like do 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 do, which I thought was like, that's a very dramatic piece of music and like perfect to kind of reference for a character like Egad, who's supposed to be like slightly spooky, but like he's running a coffee shop. Yeah, and then there's another little part near the end of the first section that sounded like the end of a section of Mozart Symphony 40, I think.
Oh, multiple references then.
Yeah,
possibly.
It's like kind of little like, not even like direct, but like I think maybe little hints of like some famous dramatic classical music to kind of give Egad some extra character.
Oh. Good ear.
Flair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I always do that on rhythm. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this other song.
That's okay. At least you're still talking about music. I'm just like, let's talk about the game. Anyway,
Let's talk about EGAD.
Anyway, Samus. Yeah. Let's get more Samus on RPG Fan.
Okay, one more thing I do want to say about EGAD though is shout out to like the voice acting or whatever you want to call it with like the noises he makes. I'm not even gonna try to replicate it, but just shout out to the EGAD noises. Those are pretty great.
Nice.
Now I have to go like listen to them.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he like keeps it consistent through like all the games too, which is probably just Nintendo reusing whatever sort of assets they have, but either way it's funny.
Right. You ready to talk about Dragon?
I think I am ready to talk about Dragon. So Dragon, this last song, is definitely less tongue-in-cheek. What you kind of have to picture for like the Fringe Cafe and Longest Journey is like a slightly run-down kind of urban setting with a bunch of art students. And the Fringe Cafe is where they all like to meet, plan things, have coffee. At the beginning of the game, they're stressed out because it's like they have to get their final portfolios ready for the semester, stuff like that. And it's slightly futuristic. And you spend a lot of time there because it's a graphic adventure, talking to people a lot of time. And what's even neater about it is that there's a whole jukebox with 4 songs that made it into the game, and I think a 5th one that wasn't used, because the kind of rundown urban setting meshes in with a fantasy setting later. All these like in slightly industrial cafe tracks have basically like kind of either magical creatures or like animal names. So this one's dragon, but there's also eagle, shark, and dolphin. So they're like kind of references to things outside the city or like in the fantasy world. Mm-hmm. And dragon is the most important one to the game. But I just had to bring it on because it's different ambiance, different type of cafe. And I enjoy the fact that it's like a really binaural song. We were talking about this a little bit because there's kind of a lot of noise. I know we were talking about that with Chagall, but that was kind of like nice, orderly cafe noises. This is more like various industrial noises. Uh-huh. If you listen to the song with headphones, there's directionality to it, which is kind of cool. And, you know, you've got like some kind of creepy grumbling noises with female vocals. And it does kind of make me think of like the awkwardness of like kind of fitting some of those fantastical creatures into a modern setting, and how this game kind of is trying to weave those two opposites together throughout the story. Because it is like, it's interesting. It is kind of set up as a dichotomy at first. But yeah, I also just really, really like urban fantasy in general. So that's another reason to bring this song on. Another reason I think it makes good cafe music is because it does have like a really pretty melody in there somewhere, sometimes, but you catch snatches of it, which is, I think, actually works in a cafe sort of setting because you're not listening consistently. You might be talking, you might be eating, your attention kind of drifts in and out. So yeah. I don't know. I like it.
So I had the good fortune to go through and hear several of these cafe songs. Even though I was leaning towards Dolphin, I think Dragon was the right choice because it's just, well, for all the reasons you said, but they're all just magical in their own like strange ways. I think Dragon should be very foreboding with the way it starts, and that voice, I guess it's a voice. It's like, it's so deep, like you can almost hardly tell if it's a voice or just like the sound of the void. But it's still like it conveys the sense of space it's dark and like almost gothic in sound, maybe not like in the game, but it's not unwelcoming, you know, like that's, if you describe something like that, usually you would think it's like scary or whatever, but it's not.
It should be, but yeah, I agree with you. But
like the slow beat of the melody and the, you know, quote unquote voice, like it would never fly in like a Starbucks or any like bright, happy cafe. But it would work in a cool like local spot that's just like kind of dark, or, you know, one of those places that maybe a lot of people don't go to or avoid, but it really has like the best drinks, but no one knows them. So that's what this is to me, like
hole in the wall kind of vibe.
Exactly, like that is the sound of that. This right here is the sound of that kind of place. And you're looking at my notes, aren't you? Yes. Okay. So I'm apologizing in advance to Hilary for having to bring this up, and also to our listeners who like probably don't know about this, and it really doesn't help anyone at all. But there was a place in Denver called Leela. It was a bar / cafe.
Mhm.
They were open 24 hours a day, and they had this vibe. I never heard this song there, but it was just dark, and like, I don't know how old they were. It just feels
They were old.
It just feels like it had been there forever.
It's an
And
ancient coffee bar.
yeah, and like, yeah, but like, we only went at night, but like, you could go whenever you want.
It is the type of spot where
Get
you would go
coffee.
at night.
Yeah.
And it was in the middle of the city, so it had a little bit more of that like industrial vibe.
Yeah, and so it just had been there so long, and it just carved out like this niche for itself. And
They also had the best chai ever, and no, you're right, I am sad.
I know they're so good.
Because they closed.
They closed, yeah. We found out last year they closed.
Oh.
So like, okay, so on one hand, yes, I'm sorry to Hilary. I'm sorry to everyone who's listening who isn't even anywhere near Colorado, because that's probably way too specific.
I'm sorry to all the people who missed out on that chai.
Yes. However, I'm gonna bring it back here a little bit. That even though this specific example of Leela, which by the way, I put a link in the show notes just so you can see the place I'm talking about. I know that feels really specific, but I also bet that anyone else here and a lot of people listening, you might still know of a place like it. Even if you don't know Leela itself, like you probably know a place that has this kind of vibe, that hole in the wall, or
Like, take a look. Like, there's a barber chair in the corner. Like, and the main feature really is the bar. Like, that is where you order your drink, regardless whether you're getting food, an alcoholic drink, or coffee.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, even if you don't know this place, I think
You can picture it.
I wanted to bring it up because that kind of vibe and stuff, I can't think of a place that's like well known or a chain or anything like that, because like, you're not going to get that from a popular place.
It's anti-chain coffee music.
Yeah, you're only going to anti-chain. You're only going to get it from a very local place. So like, you may not know my example, but I bet you have one too that I won't know, but I would like to know.
And interestingly, a little side note, on these cafe songs, they brought in a second composer specifically for this like industrial cafe music.
Oh,
Yeah, as opposed to the rest of the soundtrack.
that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it has its own feel,
Exactly.
even within the soundtrack.
And I like so much care went into it. Like each cafe song is like at least 5 minutes long, and you can just dynamically switch between them and the jukebox. It's really cool.
Not to put anyone on the spot, but since we're talking about like Audra and Mario, like, do you guys know any places like that, like where you live or any other places you've been?
I had one in a town nearby, and it closed down.
Aww.
So, yeah,
Okay, but you get the idea.
but I get the idea. Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a place. I do know one actually. It is actually like a bar that serves coffee and stuff like that. So it really might be exactly the sort of vibe of this song. But yeah, no, it's like you have to like. It looks like a barber shop in the front, but then you have to like go through this door, and then it's like a whole like setup in the back.
Yes,
So
perfect.
it's very much yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, no, I think this is exact. It might actually just be from this game, but transported to real life.
Where is it?
It's in. Let me think. I think the neighborhood. Oh god, I'm blanking on it right now.
That's okay. If you want, when we're done here, if you want to give me the link, we can put it in the show notes for people to see it.
Oh my god.
Or let's open this to listeners too. Which coffee shop did this song make you think of? Send us your dark coffee shop.
Yes. Hey, I'm fine with it.
I believe it was called Loco Joe's, mine.
Oh, nice.
Let me see. I'm trying to look it up right now.
It's okay. I very much put you on the spot with that one.
No, it's all good. No worries. I'll let you know if I find it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I'm really curious to ask both Mario and Audra, like, did this work for you as a cafe track, just not knowing the game at all?
I think so.
Yeah.
It fits especially for kind of that hole in the wall
Okay.
type of feel. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. I think I pictured pretty much like a hole in the wall kind of. I think after like the first like couple of seconds, I was like, whoa. But then it like, I think as the song progressed, it set I was like, okay, I can kind of see the vibe this is going for.
That's fair.
It was really cool and atmospheric.
Nice.
Yeah. It has a good build up.
That it does.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is mostly of our episode now. I had a lot of fun. I'm very glad you brought that one, Hilary. Like, I'm glad everyone brought everything they did, but you and Mario, like our last two songs, was not at all the vibe I was expecting.
Those are some great choices.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's a good variety.
Yeah, I like when we can have such a variety on a topic that, like, even if you think you know where it's going to go, it has some really interesting twists. So I appreciate it. All right. So eventually, in a few minutes here, we will get to a bonus track here. But first, I guess I should talk about what is coming next on the show. And I can't tell you what's coming next specifically in order, but I can tell you a few things that we have lined up. We just don't have dates nailed down exactly. So we're trying for one of the next episodes to be a video game music weddings/life events episode. So basically, we know people that played video game music at their weddings or other important events in their life, and we want to have some people talk about what they played, why, and where. So that'll be coming up soon, somewhere in May, I think. A little bit after that, we're doing an episode that's tentatively titled "Music from the Future." I'm thinking we'll have a better title for that, but right now it's basically futuristic, maybe sci-fi songs in RPGs. So that's a couple of our upcoming episodes, and I'm still not revealing what the big anniversary special one is in June, but in the next few weeks we'll be talking about it, I think. But I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, that's what we have coming up. If you have thoughts on this, whether you want to give us your thoughts on these songs, if you have topic ideas, or if you want to tell us about your local dank coffee shop, you can email us at music@rpgfan.com. Let us know your odd little out of the way spots. Remember, if we have a full track list up of all the songs here on RPG Fan and in your podcast notes. We have a track list, and then on RPG Fan there'll also be a link to places you can buy these soundtracks. If we have reviews, we link to those, and any other related links to each album. So if I gave you the email for the show, if you want to contact me at all outside of the show, you can reach me at mike@rpgfan.com. What's the best way for people to reach you, Audra?
Audra B at rpgfan.com.
All right. How about you, Mario? You have anything contact you want to share?
Sure, yeah. Also, one, it's Highland Park was the area where the bar was at that I was thinking of, actually.
Oh.
Before I forget.
Okay.
So yeah, but second. Okay, so in terms of where to find me, so I'm doing socials for RPG Fans. So the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram work pretty well. And for my own Twitter, it's exptoonie. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. And Hilary?
I would say Discord is probably just the most efficient way to reach me, and I'm EP Fire there.
If you enjoyed this show, actually, whether or not you did, but regardless, RPG Fan also has 2 other podcasts that I would encourage you to check out. We have Random Encounter every other Monday. We talk about general RPG news, recent reviews and features on RPG Fan, and whatever else current stuff comes up. Every Thursday is our Retro Encounter, except right now. At the moment, Retro Encounter is taking a break because Mike Solosi is a very, very hardworking man. So there won't be a new episode this week. However, there are well over 300 episodes to listen to. So unless you've heard all of them, I would encourage you to check the show out. And we also would appreciate if you can subscribe or review, any of our shows on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever it is you listen. So we would thank you for that.
And even if you have listened to every episode of Retro, I mean, that's almost a year's worth of episodes. There's some you probably haven't listened to recently.
Can you imagine listening to an episode of Retro Encounter every single day?
You could. You almost could.
You could. That's a lot of podcasts. Mm-hmm. A lot of good podcasts.
Yay.
But that's a packed year of podcasting. So, but hey, I'm not going to stop anyone from that. All right. So that's our episode. Traditionally, what we used to do, I think it's been a while. It's been a while since we had a new person on Rhythm, but usually early on what the rule was that the guest, the newest person on Rhythm Encounter, would be the one who gets the bonus track. And luckily we have that today. Since this is your first, full episode, Mario, you get the choice of the bonus track. So what are we closing out with today?
Yeah, so I brought Crumb's Cafe from Professor Layton and the Curious Village, which is the first Professor Layton game, actually. So yeah, I think this track is a great note to end on because it just adds that sort of mystery town feel, basically, that the game's going for. And I just think Professor Layton earns a spot in this episode too. I feel like when I think video game cafe music, I think Professor Layton. So yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to leave him out.
Yep.
No, that's a great choice. I would not have expected that. I was looking at our song database before this, and the last time anything from Layton showed up was in episode 12, which was many, many years ago. So I think it's about time we had more. So Yeah, great choice. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome, for sure.
All right, so let's close out with some Leighton. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank all of you for being here.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
You can't just end on that note.
I can end on that note. I'm hosting. Okay. I was going nowhere. It's like, this isn't going anywhere funny, so I'm going to just change gears here.
Oh my goodness.
Proving that I can be funny.